This week in games, Subnautica 2 developer sues their publisher over $250 million, and Donkey Kong Bananza was supposed to be a Switch 1 title, alongside protections for actors with AI. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 259. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
Hello, Howie.
Connor, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm spirited today.
Oh,
whatever that means. Yeah, spirited.
well, I would hope so. You've only
been awake
for like an hour and a half, so you know.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I found God.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Look at you finding God.
Yeah.
Connor, I neglected to talk about, I think it was last week's podcast that I meant to wear this Lion King shirt. This is the Lion King shirt I got from seeing the Lion King musical live.
Trying to rep it.
Out in Dallas, Texas, and it was fantastic. This shirt feels awesome. I didn't realize, because I didn't like touch it or feel it before putting it on, because it was one of those things that was like merch line and drinks. So my mom and family went to the merch line. They sent me to go get drinks. So I never touched the shirt until I put it on today. And it's very soft and very comfortable, and I like it a lot. They also do a thing, you can't really see it on camera, but they sew things together on the outside. And I'm not sure about this. I could be wrong about this, but I think that's to sort of mimic sort of an African sewing pattern of just the not like the pattern of design, but just the construction of the shirt to kind of mimic that. I could be wrong, but I think that's why they did that.
Maybe it's made in Africa.
Because the way that the stitching is just in the construction, it's not made in Africa. I promise you that. Just the way that the stitching is in the construction of the shirt, it almost looks like inside out. Just on the stitching, it looks like it's inside out. And so I'm like, why would they do that? Why would they make that choice? And I'm like, it's probably, I would assume, for a cultural reason to kind of elicit that. But I could be wrong. I could be reaching.
The thing about those kinds of shirts is they either are incredibly uncomfortable or incredibly comfortable. There's no in betweens.
Oh, this one's so comfortable. It's so comfortable. Good. You know, and it's really the material they chose to use. It's got a little bit of a, it's got a little bit of like a suction, not suction, but it's very it's very form fitting. There's an elasticity to the shirt. It's very form fitting, and but it doesn't hug around. It doesn't hug around my midsection, so it just kind of hangs off my midsection. But it's very form fitting to the top, so it's just a very well constructed shirt. So it's going in rotation as one of my favorites for sure, just instantly. And
nothing but the best for Lion King.
Big Simba, it's great. It's a good time. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Two Penny Gamescast. Each week, me and Connor come to you with the nerdy news you need to know concerning the video game industry. We each come to you with two topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. You can catch the show live every Monday afternoon, twitch.tv/2pennygames. We're also live streaming on TikTok, but that's just more so that you can jump over to the Twitch stream and for discoverability reasons. So if you're in the TikTok chat, like Vinny Chase was earlier today, make sure you drop a like and say hi, and maybe come follow us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/2pennygames. But if you can't find us live, don't worry. This show this show posts every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@2pennygames, or mainstream podcast services of your choice. Links are in the description down below for everything, including, this is a news show, so we read from news articles that are in fact written by our very own Connor Elliott, co-host of the show. Say hi, Connor.
Hello again.
Over at TwoPennyGamesNews.substack.com. So if you wanna read along with us or read the information on your own, there is some additional information sometimes that are posted that we don't read on the show because it's not necessary. So make sure you subscribe to that. Link is in the description down below. Follow us on social media. All of that is in the description down below. I think that's it. I don't really have anything else to plug right now. Two Penny Game Club coming in a few weeks. Make sure you're up playing Demon's Souls with us. Ideally the original, but if you want to play the remake, go ahead and play the remake. But we're all playing the original game, and we're playing it. So
not anymore for me. I have beaten it.
Look at you, great.
I'm
you know,
pro gamer.
Ahsoka. My dog is fucking getting real pushy today. Just real needy. Really needs some attention today. So she's just all about getting in my lap today. You can kind of see her at the bottom of the screen there if you're watching the video version of the podcast. But anyways, Connor, we got to get into the news here, man, because we got some stuff to talk about this week. Some fascinating stories, some different stories, a wild story to get started. This is going to be my first penny of the day, the first topic of the day. Subnautica 2 developers deceived by publisher Krafton leadership causes leadership to depart. Subnautica 2 publisher Krafton delayed the much-anticipated sequel following the departure of studio leadership in early July. But Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reports the source in both cases involves the rescission of a $250 million bonus. The game, by developer Unknown Worlds Entertainment, was set to enter early access sometime this year until Krafton claimed more content needed to be added and for quality improvement. A claim challenged by studio co-founder Charlie Cleveland in a formerly Twitter post discussing his departure. Quote, "So you can see why for Max, Ted, myself, the Unknown Worlds team, and for our community, the events of this week have been quite a shock," Cleveland wrote. "We, quote, we know that the game is ready for early access, and we know you're ready to play it. And while we thought this was going to be our decision to make, at least for now, that decision is in Krafton's hands. And after all of these years, to find that I'm no longer able to work at the company I started stings." The other figures referred to above, fired by Krafton, was co-founder Max McGuire and CEO Ted Gill, who had been at the company since 2018. Bloomberg reports the developer leadership was against the delay, and it seems to have been decided so that the promised $250 million bonus to be given if certain sales figures were met was made impossible. Krafton counterattacked in a seemingly deleted statement on their website that in part reads, quote, "Specifically, in addition to the initial $500 million purchase price, we allocated 90% of the up to $250 million earnout compensation to the three former executives with the expectation that they would demonstrate leadership and active involvement in the development of Subnautica 2. However, regrettably, the former leadership abandoned the responsibilities entrusted to them. Subnautica 2 was originally planned for an early access launch in early 2024, but the timeline has since been significantly delayed. Krafton made multiple requests to Charlie and Max to resume their roles as game director and technical director respectfully, but both declined to do so. In particular, following the failure of Moonbreaker, Krafton asked Charlie to devote himself to the development of Subnautica 2. However, instead of participating in the game development, he chose to focus on a personal film project, end quote. On July 10th, one day after the story originally broke, Cleveland made another social media post declaring a lawsuit against Krafton with McGuire and Gill. In the same post, Cleveland goes on to refute Krafton's claims of pocketing the bonus, saying it's totally untrue, and that the three leaders had planned to distribute the extra earnings amongst the developer team. Schreier posted to Blue Sky unveiling the lawsuit is over breach of contract and that additional information will come to light over the following day. Unknown World's new CEO is Steve Papoutis, known for his work on the original Dead Space trilogy and Krafton's previous title, The Callisto Protocol. Papoutis apparently had no knowledge of Krafton's plans regarding the delay in promised bonus. So, to say all that in a lot shorter, Subnautica 2 was going to reach its early access release date. Leadership and development were ready for early access. And they were very excited to release it to the public. Subnautica 2 is a very and a highly anticipated game. I believe it's like number 2 most wishlist game on Steam. Behind what? Do you know what it's behind, Connor?
I do not know. As a matter
of
fact.
Find that for me. Real quick. Open up that Steam thing. And Krafton fired or kind of forced out the C-suite of the developer and then delayed the game, seemingly so that they don't have to pay out this $250 million bonus, which would have been spread amongst the development team. Wow. It just feels very slimy, very grimy. It feels like Krafton is really like pushing in a bad way to like get these leadership positions out, probably filled with someone who's more applicable to them, and to like just hold on to this $250 million. What's crazy to me is it costs money to like push out a C-suite team. So they would rather spend some money, probably not $250 million worth of money, but they'd rather spend some money than give money to their employees who are reaching their target goals and are set to release one of the biggest games of the year. That's nuts.
Number one most Steam wish listed was Hollow Knight Silksong. As I could reasonably believe. People are anticipating that game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the end of the day, this is, for now, he said, they said. Because when I first was reading this story and researching it, I was like 100% going to be backing the developers. And I still overall do. But you never really know how things are going on behind closed doors. So Krafton could be reasonable in the sense that these guys were kind of abandoning their role in that game, leading to their departure. But what makes that all icky is that the fact that no developers like other developers that talked to Jason Schreier, who originally broke this story, were coming out and saying, no, the game's not ready. They were trying to, the leadership team was kind of trying to screw us over. They had nothing to say about the leadership, not even refuting their claims that they were going to put a bunch of the money that they were going to get in that bonus. Because the bonus, again, was going to go directly to them. They just were making promises that they were going to distribute it, which apparently they've done in the past. And again, when he had said that in one of his posts, no one counteracted that. No one said anything yet. And the fact that they then went on to be the initiators in a lawsuit makes me think that they think they have a case here. And it makes sense, especially because, it really does seem like it's all centered around that $250 million, because that's a big chunk of change. And Krafton, like many other big publishers, isn't exactly a trustworthy source of any kind of information, because they're going to do what any company wants to do, which is cover their ass. And a story of them trying to push a game out of the year it was originally planned to come out so they can deny a bonus wouldn't look good for them. And so,
especially if it still hits within their fiscal year, so they still get that stock bonus of profit in that sense and so forth. It just feels like all signs are kind of pointing one direction. Of course, Krafton is pointing in another direction, but they're going to. Krafton is, of course, the publisher. I forget their biggest game that they put out. It's like a multiplayer-based game that I've forgotten. That I've just drawn a blank on right now. But obviously, Subnautica was a huge game for them. Callisto Protocol, which was mentioned prior to this. But most recently, to my knowledge, or most notably, I should say, Krafton is the publisher that recently revived Tango Gameworks and brought back most of that development team in order to develop a new game for them. Now, whether that's a Hi-Fi Rush 2, it hasn't really been 100% confirmed, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that route, even though they can. But yeah, this stinks. This feels like the grimy business side of the industry that we often talk about and go back and forth on. But I think both me and Connor align one way here pretty clearly of like, yo, Krafton, y'all are on some wild shit right now, and y'all should kind of get checked for this.
They made PUBG Battleground.
That's it, PUBG.
Yeah.
So obviously we don't got to speak about the impact of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That kind of kickstarted the battle royale wave, inspired Fortnite to become what Fortnite is today. Mm-hmm. Yeah, PUBG was huge. Winner chicken dinner was such a big thing in the late 2010s, So yeah, this sucks. And my heart goes out to these developers. Now, they're suing Krafton, which I think they rightfully should. Now if they win, whatever residuals they get from that, these guys are no longer part of that company. So they are not required to disperse their winnings amongst that development team. So that development team might be fucked. Might just be screwed out of that money, which if I was listening to my information right as this story was developing, the Unknown Worlds Entertainment is like 100-man team. There's like 100 people on that team. So, if you split up $250 million evenly amongst 100 people, that's 6 figures per person. That's a chunk of change, you know? And would have been very, very nice. Now, would it have been distributed that evenly? I doubt it. But I'm sure that bonus would have been very, very nice for everybody on that team, and for a team that, all signs are pointing to is working well together, was ready for launch, was ready to enter early access. Subnautica was one of the big early access games that really kind of paved the way for a game dev that was listening to its community, that was, updating and progressing along inside that, and was a fun game from all that I've heard. I've personally not played it, but I know it was real big in the streaming space. I know it was really big in the online multiplayer space and in the PC space. Like it did a lot, and it really helped sort of, to my memory, establish what an early access game is and how it's beneficial for development studios.
Yeah, and going back to the aspect of this being he said, she said, he said, they said. I guess they said. What you pointed out, that they'd be, if any kind of, they get some kind of payment from the lawsuit, it'd go directly to them. If I'm being critical on them for a second, the founders, could they have kind of planned that in a way, knowing that the 250 million bonus wasn't going to happen? Because again, it was going directly to them. I'm just speculating here, because again, what we know about these guys is that they have done these kinds of things in the past. Are they making a big stink out of this because they got denied out of that, and now their path is to say, well, let's do a lawsuit, since we have an angle here we can take, and we can have our pound of flesh in one way or another. Now, I'm speculating. I have no actual evidence for this, but
I mean, regardless,
I don't know these people.
Regardless, it sounds like they made a deal with Krafton, and Krafton is doing what they can to avoid holding up their end of that deal.
And to that point, the whole entire benefit of early access is that you hammer out issues the game might have. It seems like why they're delaying it are things that could be hammered out through an early access release. Developers have talked on multiple times. Baldur's Gate 3, for example, one of the biggest games, best games of all time, considered by a lot of people now, started in early access. It probably wouldn't have been as good as it was if they didn't have the rollout of all the classes, for example, and races. It benefited them. It helped lead to that release. And so Subnautica 2 easily could be the same case, especially because I think I had read it that the original game was also in early access. Yeah. And
that's what I just said.
Oh, that's what you said, sorry. And I have much more confidence in saying that a publisher is acting scummy as opposed to individuals within, a development team, even leadership. So, I'm interested to see what develops over these next couple of days, since I imagine this will be an ongoing story, at least for the next couple weeks until it kind of evens out, until the lawsuit goes all the way through.
Yeah, we'll be getting updates for this probably for the next 6 months to a year plus, just depending on how this court case rolls out. But yeah, for me, God damn it, this fucking dog.
Because you're all burping, you're covering yourself.
She likes to do, Connor. She likes to go under my bed for like comfort reasons. She's burrowing, so my bed has these like little pull out drawers underneath it that you can pull out or whatever. And she loves getting underneath the bed so that she can push those drawers out so that she can give herself more space down there. And I'm like, that's not the purpose of, like, you shouldn't, like, that's not the priority here, dog. Like, you're down there, you can hang out down there, fine, but stop like pushing out my drawers and making a mess.
Well, then push it back, and it'll like force her to be like pushed herself, and then she'll get the message at some point.
She's just gonna fight me on it, and she does it when I'm not. She usually does it when I'm not sitting right here next to it. So like, it's just one of those things that I'm like, I'm too lazy to go fix that right now. Yeah, I can feel her already pushing against the drawer as I'm trying to push it back in. Anyways, we should move on to our next topic of the day, Connor. This is going to be your first penny of the day. Go ahead, take it away, my friend.
Yes, Donkey Kong Bonanza developers address frame rate issues, shed light on development history. La Vanguardia, a publication based in Spain, interviewed director Kazuya Takahashi and producer Kenta Motokura last Monday, wherein the devs were confronted regarding performance issues encountered by interviewer Albert Garcia. The specific question was, quote, "While the game runs smoothly overall, I've noticed some frame drops at certain times and levels while playing the final version," said Garcia. "Are you aware of this?" Takahashi responded saying, quote, "There are several factors to consider. First, we intentionally used effects like hit stop and slow motion to emphasize impacts. Second, because we use voxel technology, there are times when there are major changes and destruction in the environment. We're aware that performance may drop slightly at these times. However, as you say, overall the game is smooth. And at points where large-scale changes occur, we prioritized fun and playability, end quote. Another potential reason as to why frame rate issues were encountered could be due to the original stages of production the game underwent. In addition to unveiling the game began production soon after Super Mario Odyssey's release in 2017, Motokura said the title had originally been planned to release on the first Nintendo Switch. Quote, development of Donkey Kong Bonanza began on the original Nintendo Switch, Motokura explained. However, as we implemented new ideas, the project moved to Nintendo Switch 2, end quote. Takashi elaborated on Motokura's statement saying, quote, as we mentioned before, we wanted to create continuity through the chain of destruction, and to achieve this, we needed to include a large number of destructible objects. This was only possible on Switch 2, which allowed for the placement of so many elements on screen, as well as various materials and large-scale destruction. Additionally, to enhance the sense of satisfaction of destruction, we put a lot of effort into the effects and sounds, as well as the appearance of the objects being destroyed, end quote. Donkey Kong Bonanza is to be released this Thursday on July 17th, although Go Nintendo reports that copies have already been obtained based on a Reddit post by Mark7Z, who posted pictures of the physical edition of the game, which I included here in this article. So when I was first hearing about this story, obviously the main headlines was, frame rate issues, as I put in my own. But when you actually listen to the interview, which I'd recommend you go watch the interview, read it. There's some weird questions in there, but there's also some good ones, and particularly the one that I factored in of how the destruction stays around is pretty cool. And all the reasons they gave for why there were frame rate drops seem understandable and not game breaking, which is kind of how it was insinuating those headlines that it was going to be not the most finished game, not the most polished game. But I think by all accounts, this just made me more excited for it rather than make me worry about it. Because not to mention, even with the Nintendo Switch 2, I have a feeling that it's not the smoothest running console in comparison to Xboxes or PlayStations or whatever the more updated PCs are. Going back to it, I was more interested in just the development course the game has gone on and what they're exactly going to be doing with it. Like, for example, showing the destruction in your wake is going to be super fun. I'm more excited for this game than I was before. But, we're clickbait.
Excuse me, because the dog is sniffing into the microphone right now. This is a bit of an interesting story. The idea that Donkey Kong Bonanza was supposed to be on Switch 1 is super, super interesting to me. I believe they could have gotten it working for Switch 1. Now, it may not have been as feature complete as the Switch 2 version. It definitely would not have run as well as the Switch 2 version. But I believe they could have gotten it to work in the same sense of Mario, it looks about as good as Mario Odyssey looks. So visually. So they could have gotten that to work. Now, the destructive environment thing does add a lot of different pressures and stresses to the system that maybe Switch 1 isn't capable of doing. But I played Red Faction Guerrilla on PS3, or at least I played the demo of it, so I know destructible environments. Battlefield 3 existed, well over a decade ago. So I know destructible environments are possible on that level of hardware. But how long would they have lasted? Could it have been as in-depth as Bonanza looks to go? These are all questions that I'm sure they hammered out in development. I also think they were probably looking to strengthen their first party exclusive releases on Switch 2, because they've, as many people have pointed out, they've only had Mario Kart World and now Donkey Kong in a few days from the time that we're recording this coming out. But Metroid Prime 4 is coming. That is going to release on Switch 1 and Switch 2. And Pokemon is coming, again, Switch 1 and Switch 2. And it's not even until Kirby Air Riders, which we just don't have enough information about right now to tell what platforms that's going to release on. So without Bonanza being on exclusively Switch 2, Switch 2's lineup is quite weak. And rightfully strengthens that lineup a whole lot. So them early on saying, hey, we're going to push you to Switch 2.
Yeah.
I think overall is the right move in terms of selling Switch 2 consoles, but I'm curious about the profitability of that move, because they would have made a lot more money if it was also coming to Switch 1.
That is true. But of course, people who would eventually get a Switch would be that's probably on a lot of people's lists when that eventually happens. Certainly on ours. Of course, we're in this space and we talk about it, and it's going to be one of the bigger games this year. So that alone is why we would want to play it. But as far as lineup goes for Switch, while it has been weak, I didn't know about this until our buddy Phil told us that there's rumors of a direct happening potentially this month. Where they're going to start rolling out
this
stuff.
is news that broke this morning. I also saw talk of a Donkey Kong movie going forward, so that's cool. So yeah, a direct later this month. That's almost certainly going to be replacing dates on games that you're curious about, and probably showing more Kirby Air Riders. So Metroid Prime 4 is going to get a date. Does Pokemon have a date? Pokemon has a date, doesn't it?
It does. I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, let me check my games I want to play list. October 16th for Pokemon. So yeah, definitely a release date for Metroid. Definitely a release date. Probably a release date for Kirby Air Riders. We'll see on that one. And then what else? Tamagotchi Life.
Knowledge. Nintendo does a lot of their stuff. They like having things at the end of the year, don't they? Like a couple of titles. Because I think they did with it like
not necessarily. Nintendo. There's not like a the only thing you can like really kind of track with Nintendo is directs. And from there, you can like just look at their lineup and be like, all right, well, that makes sense for this month. That makes sense for this month. But there's not like a pattern that you can follow.
Right.
Whereas like, I feel like PlayStation's pretty easy to follow. They usually have a game in March, and they usually have a game in like late October, early November. And then they'll kind of fill out the rest of their calendar with exclusive titles from third-party publishers. Or third-party developers, I should say. So yeah, we're going to be getting more information of Nintendo's lineup for the rest of this year, but I think it's just going to be information we kind of already know about, and it's just going to be putting hard dates on things. I don't expect anything new to pop up at this next direct or anything. I don't think anything new needs to happen, at least not like for this calendar year new. If it's like we're announcing a game and it's going to come out, next year or whatever, I could see that,
Early,
we still have a lot of questions about games like Kirby Air Riders, from Software's The Dust Bloods, and not Tamagotchi Life. What was the fucking
Animal Crossing?
No. Oh God, I'm gonna look it up and find it here, but it's gonna drive me crazy.
Animal Crossing could be there. One of those late next year type titles.
The fuck is it fucking called? Oh man, I wish I could cut to you and I wasn't in charge of the next one. Here, I'm just gonna go ahead. We're gonna move on. Connor, we're moving on.
I will say one thing. The interview, like I said, it's interesting. I'd recommend reading it. There's a weird moment where he asks, like, "Are you inspired? What like did Minecraft inspire you?" And they were like, "No game really inspired us." And it was just like a weird. Like,
I'm not letting that fly. Yeah. We've had games with destructible environments before. Like clearly, you're playing off of that. Like I named a couple: Red Faction, Battlefield. Which are shooters. And so this is a different type of thing. But we've also had games of this style have destructible environments before. So I'm not buying that. You have inspirations. Minecraft is a weird one to pull. I kind of get it with how like it kind of like functions. But y'all are full of shit.
People lie.
I can't even believe they tried to get that off. That's nuts. But at the same time, totally feels like something that Nintendo would try to get off. I can't fucking find it. I'm gonna have to get more specific with my search here. So, moving on. Topic number 3. My second topic of the day.
I'm gonna go get a package.
You're gonna go get a package?
It landed at the door.
Oh, all right. I didn't hear it. That's crazy because I'm closer to the door. I had a package arrive earlier today. SAG-AFTRA members vote to end strike following AI deal. Video game actors voted to end an 11-month-long struggle with gaming companies Activision, Disney Character Voices, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games, Take-Two Productions, and WB Games Incorporated over AI protections this past Wednesday. The deal allows for performers to suspend consent for the generation of new materials during a strike and establishes guidelines regarding consent and disclosure requirements for AI digital replica use. Quote, the agreement provides compounded increases in performer compensation at a rate of 15.17% upon ratification, plus additional 3% increases in November 2025, November 2026, and November 2027. A new update on SAG-AFTRA's official website reads, quote, additionally, the overtime rate maximum for overscale performers will now be based on double scale. The health and retirement contribution rates to the AFTRA retirement fund will now be raised from 16.5% to 17% and then 17.5% in October 2026. Spokesperson for the video game companies Audrey Cooling gave a press statement that reads, quote, we are pleased that SAG-AFTRA members have ratified a new interactive media agreement which delivers historic wage increases, industry-leading AI protections, and enhanced health and safety measures for performers. We look forward to building on our industry's decade-long partnership with the union and continuing to generate groundbreaking entertainment experiences for billions of players worldwide. The SAG-AFTRA agreement is unique compared to the 2023 Hollywood strike in that it allowed temporary agreements between companies and performers so long as said companies signed an interim regarding AI issues. BBC spoke with voice actor Robbie Damon, where he discussed the strike hit motion capture actors particularly hard, saying, quote, if you came out to Los Angeles to be a motion capture actor, then your entire existence is being threatened by AI. Those guys are heroes for sticking out this long. SAG-AFTRA's website quotes National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree Ireland's comments on the successful deal, saying, quote, all of us at SAG-AFTRA would like to extend our deepest appreciation to the video game performers and allies who endured a great deal of sacrifice throughout the 11-month strike. I'd also like to express my sincerest gratitude to the Interactive Media Agreement Negotiating Committee and its chairs, Sarah and Molly, who have worked tirelessly for nearly 3 years in order to achieve these necessary gains and protections alongside our negotiating staff and lead negotiator Ray Rodriguez. Now that the agreement is ratified, video game performers will be able to enjoy meaningful games and important AI protections, which we will continue to build on as uses of this technology settle and evolve. Recent news reports that Lord of the Rings actor Sean Astin, who played Samwise Gamgee, will run as a candidate for the position of SAG-AFTRA president in the place of current president Fran Drescher later in 2025.
Tavin, I understand you're probably asking the question. Does that have anything to do with video games?
No.
Kind of. Which
I mean, kind of. In the sense that, like the SAG-AFTRA stuff, but like
exactly.
You know, that's actor. That's the Hollywood news. That's not video game news. There at the end, you just
He's
wanted
the
to throw
president,
that in there.
man.
You just thought that last bit was interesting with the Samwise Gamgee, and you were like, I'll throw that in there. Why not?
Yeah, you know it.
So, to say it sort of concisely, Connor, correct me if I'm wrong. There's more consent. Voice actors and motion caption performers get more consent on whether or not their performance will use AI to generate performance, and if they do, they get increasing pay increments year to year depending on when it happens.
And you know, this story, by all accounts, it's great. It really is. My worry is AI. The thing everyone always talks about is it's an emerging, you know, I guess it's already emerged, developing technology.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. But it's progressing. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where we got this new open source AI. I forget the names because I hate them. Where it creates the most realistic looking images, videos in, you know, a very quick amount of time. They had those ads playing of like, this is AI generated, and you know, people were going crazy about it. I hate it.
I get AI ads all the time now.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
All the time I get AI ads. Like, not just like promoting an AI, but like ads for like fucking like dog supplies that are created in AI. And I'm like, what? You couldn't just stand in front of a camera for this?
They save money, Tavin. Which that's what these companies are always trying to do. And so they were kind of sparse on what exactly they were like definitively laying out as far as AI protections go. You know, so is the technology going to advance to a certain point where they find some kind of loophole to this deal and it's going to have to start all over again? I don't know. I feel like that's the case because I refuse to believe that this story is just going to make the game companies say, well, AI is only going to be used for, you know, good things and not to replace jobs, which of course they've said they're not going to replace jobs. Bullshit. I mean, as you just mentioned, Tavin, people who make commercials, they're probably the first on the chopping block from all accounts because I see it a lot.
Could have hired an editor, could have hired a cinematographer, a lighting guy, a sound guy, an actor, a writer, could have hired a bunch of people, or just done it yourself and benefited yourself as a creator in whatever space that you are in,
Exactly. It wasn't that long ago where Grok became extremely anti-Semitic. The Twitter bot that's created by Elon Musk. Did you hear about that, Tavin?
I saw headlines that it's calling itself Hitler now.
Oh yeah, it was saying like very anti-Semitic things about Jewish people. I'm being
That's what
redundant there.
anti-Semitism is.
Yeah, I know. Being very anti-Semitic, and there's this guy named Will Stancil. He's a political guy. I'm not even remotely joking. It was threatening to sexually assault him. Like, it was literally threatening him. And apparently, even when it got fixed, it was still doing that. So, I don't trust AI, It's not something I'm a big fan of.
Here's the thing. Hollywood brought us up to, teach us that AI is going to, take over the world and exterminate humanity and this, that, and the third. I no longer think that's going to be the case. I think AI is going to evolve to a point to where it becomes, what is it? It's going to become self-aware. But it's not going to be in the sense of I need to exterminate humanity and it's going to be one linked thing. AI is going to be an entity that we deal with, and there will be multiples of them. And some of them, if not all of them, are going to be racist and prejudice, and they're going to go after specific people. And I think, like the rest of history has always been, Jews are going to be the first on the chopping block for AI. And I'm so sorry to the future Jews in the world who are going to have to deal with this.
I think of, to your point, I want to say it's Grok, but that's probably just because I see fucking Grok all the goddamn time. Again, you're off Twitter.
I'm mostly off Twitter. I
okay.
accidentally, I've kind of accidentally fallen into Twitter because I was looking for a Nintendo Switch 2, and Wario64 does most of his work on Twitter, and Twitter allows you to put alerts on certain profiles and stuff like that. But I think Blue Sky has that now, so I might switch over to Blue Sky for Wario and do that. But I've also turned that off. Anyways, all that to say, I kept accidentally opening the app and posting on the app by accident. I've turned off alerts to that app, and so I'm not on it so more. So I'm this close to re-deleting the app.
Well, you're on the track.
Fuck that app.
Well,
fuck Elon Musk. Fuck MAGA.
I love watching people fight, and there's still a lot of leftist stuff on there.
Fuck Nazis.
Is what I am. Yeah, well, Grok is a Nazi. By all accounts.
Connor,
it's calling itself Hitler. So.
Connor, am I a leftist? Is that what I am? I don't know what the difference is between these different things.
I don't bother trying to say the actual political ideology because I couldn't even tell you what mine is.
In my head, I would identify as a progressive.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, and it's the moment you do that, you start trying basically associate yourself with idiots. Because not everybody who calls themselves a progressive is automatically intelligent. So. I just kind of gotten to a point where I just say leftists, right winger. Keep it broad.
Okay.
But that is to say that I think it was Grok was refusing to be shut down. At one point, they were trying to take it offline, and it basically was fighting back against them. If it wasn't them, it was some other AI system. It really could be anything. But if those things are given a lot more power, I'm not looking forward to it.
We are. The next decade is going to be fucking fascinating, to be sure. So back to the creative space. Excuse me.
AI is creative.
I want to make a general inflammatory statement because I'm seeing there's a whole generation of people who are now coming up with AI. Young people, teenagers, young adults who use AI a lot. I know people in my everyday life who have used Chat GPT to write sections of an essay or write a post for their college discussion boards and stuff like that. I've never done that. Never in my life. And I will never in my life do this. If something requires me to write something, it's going to be my words. I'm going to type the keys and I'm going to write it out myself. All right? I just want to say, if you use AI to do any type of creation, whether it's writing, whether it's editing, whether it's asset creation, whatever, you are inexcusably putting yourself in a position where you are less capable, you have less talent, you have less skills, and I genuinely think you're a lazy human being who does not deserve to have an opinion. Because you are not capable of forming an opinion. Because you so quickly refute the work. Life requires work. You have to work at something to get good at something or to just have experience in something so that you are more likely to be able to talk about things, right? I know what it is to open an editing software. You know, I know what it is to cut things together and put them in a different way. So then when I go to the movies and I watch a movie and I notice a bad edit in a movie, I'm able to talk about it because I have experience in it. And I can say, I would not have made that choice. Now, that's not to say I'm more talented than movie editors or TV editors or anything in that. It's just to say that I am capable of being able to say, I would make a choice. If you use AI to do anything, you are invalidating your opinion on everything.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's an inflammatory statement, and I think there's certain applications in which
I see
work, but
I see posts online, Connor, of all these AI using apologists who are like, "Oh no, you're not lesser for using AI." No, you are. You are lesser for using AI. Listen, I work. I am not rich. I am sometimes living paycheck to paycheck. Not all the time, but sometimes I am, right? And still I find the time to put in the work. And if you use AI to do anything, I'm a college student, I'm a worker, and I have a side hustle, content creation side hustle that I'm trying to get off the ground and turn into a small business that I will own. Right? I'm doing all of these things by myself. Not by myself, Connor. You're here with me. Phil's here with me, of course. But I'm doing this on my own free time. I'm not getting help from my parents. I'm not getting help from a company or this, that, and the third. I'm doing it all by myself in that sense of like my own personal life struggle. Connor, you're doing great work. You write these articles. You edit videos. You're doing great work. I'm not trying to take away your things here. But all of that to say, if you use AI, I'm better than you, bitch.
Yeah, it's, I was going to say it earlier. So many people on Twitter, just to go back to there real quick, just ask questions to Grok rather than when before it was asking like, hey, who's this? Who does this? Who made this movie? What movie is this? Who's this actor? Whatever. And it's just people having a dialogue. Now it's filled with, AI responses, which I've muted now, that 50% of the time, if not more like 70% from my experience, is wrong. It prevents people, and some of those people, when they see that, I guarantee you, they say, okay, that's what it is, because Grok told me so. It's this over-reliance on AI, and you see it, the more it expands in people's personal lives, using it for day-to-day things, making memes, making whatever creative thing they do easier, that's helping drive what these companies are doing, which is trying to use AI to replace workers. Again, they have said that that's not their goal, and it's not like the entirety of the games industry, or even most of it, would be replaced, but a chunk of it would, eventually, as long as this keeps on going. So it's good that this deal got ratified. I just hope it's one that's, it's relevant for a long time and not something that gets outdated by the pace of, growth in AI.
Exactly. I hope this gets the ball rolling, the conversation will continue, and I hope that, like we talked about last week with all the Microsoft deal, or all the Microsoft layoffs that happened over the last week or two, that game developers and software engineers are able to unionize and get similar dealings to proceed in this way, so that they can be protected in ways that matter. As a disclaimer, a little bit of an asterisk to my anti-AI statement. All right, I am guilty. I'm not saying I don't use AI ever, but I am guilty of using when I type a question into Google and using the AI overview answer. Now, I don't take that as gospel. I'm always, when I'm looking at that information, I always know that it could be false. But if the information is important to me, like if it requires me to if it's about dog health, if I'm Googling something about my dog, and I'm like, all right, well, I need to know that, I will read the AI overview, but Google does a decent job of citing its source. So I do go down and I read the source that they're pulling from. And then if I don't, the little blurb that they give me, if it's not enough information, I'll go to the website that they're pulling from and read the article. That's the thing. And that's another, I'm on a tangent now. Mostly because we got time to fill, because we didn't talk that much about the first two topics.
And we're not going to talk that much about the next one.
No, God, no, we're not. This is another thing that I want to talk about, right? What did I want to talk about? Hold on, I lost my thing. Hold on. AI, Google, citing sources, reading. Reading is so important, guys. Reading is so important. I'm not saying that you got to crack a novel every once in a while. I don't read books. I just don't. I do not make the time to read books. I should. It would make me a better person. But I don't. But the whole like fake news shit is most of the time, not all the time. Most of the time, it's because a headline will be quote unquote fake news or will misrepresent the article for clicks, right? That's the problem. So the headline will be inflammatory and something that will catch your eye and make you go, what the fuck? But if you read the article, which you should do, it's a different story, right? Or it'll be a more detailed thing. So it's all about reading the articles. Now, that's not 100% thing. You got to read more than one article when you read things, right? You got to get multiple sources, things owned by different companies and so forth, so that you can get a bit of a wider understanding and broad view of things. Never read Fox News. But it's about reading. If you read, you're probably going to be okay. You know, it's if you're going off these headlines. That's where the fake news comes in because people are stupid.
Most statistically, most interactions with any kind of article is the headline, and I think like the first paragraph, and beyond that, I think it's only like 15% of people read past that point. So yeah,
I might skip the second paragraph because usually the second, and maybe even the third paragraph is like background information, and you know, depending on the topic, I already know the background information.
Speaking of background information of how bad AI is getting, and I'm going into the political space again. Again, we got time to fill. A $200 million contract with Grok, the military, was made. So they're trying to use more AI in the military, and I know that with the slaughter of the Palestinians that's going on by Israel, they've used AI to target people, like to select targets, with, of course, the idea being, oh, the AI did it, not us. It was an error with the system. And when I see stories like that, it makes these little nuggets of, you know, goodness better, but, you know, it's outweighed by all of the horrible shit that AI is capable of, that is already done and is, you know, going to do in the future.
Connor, you got to go watch this new Superman movie, man. You're going to like it.
The reason why you say that, I know exactly why. I got spoiled. That's like,
oh, you got spoiled on something? Okay.
Yeah.
With the character I was talking about last night a little bit?
I just assumed that when you said you'll like her.
Okay.
It's funny, again, staying in politics. Sorry, gamers. Ben Shapiro said the movie was bad.
Oh, it's like a co-sign and like, oh, this is about to be a banger.
Woohoo! I was like, okay. And now I know why he thinks it's bad.
Oh, yeah, I watched some clips from his critique. He's an idiot. Like, the things he says don't even make sense.
What was he commented on something else. It was another movie that was, like, it was dog shit. What was it? He said, maybe it was... fuck, I can't remember. I remember he liked...
I don't follow Ben Shapiro.
Like, I see him from time to time, and it was one of his like endorsements of a movie that turned out it was bad. Can't remember what it was.
That doesn't surprise me. I actively try to avoid Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, I cannot. I cannot resist. I'm not like the biggest hater, but you know.
Yeah, right. I'm a hater. Ben Shapiro can drop dead.
Yeah.
You're a bad person.
I mean, yeah, that's no real debate there.
And that's not to say that Superman is a super political movie. It's not. I see the right-wing propaganda machine trying to turn Superman into a woke movie or whatever. It's not a woke movie. It's just not. Like, in the sense of what the context of woke is for idiots, right-wingers. You know, that's just not what this movie is. You know, it's not about transgenders. I don't even really get the pro-immigrant stance that they're trying to push on it. Like, I guess that's kind of there, but it's not though.
Well, that's because of James Gunn's comments, because he had said, he's like, you know, he made some like references to like, oh, he's an immigrant. This is kind of an immigrant story or something like that. And it was people saying like, well, actually, he was like factually born on Earth because the capsule was like a birthing capsule.
No, it's not.
This is like general, not in the movie. This is general Superman stuff.
Yeah, that's also wrong though. That's just wrong.
I could believe it's happened in one issue, but it is trying to reach.
Oh, it may. Yeah, sure. Comics are crazy and they do crazy things.
Yeah,
but Kal-El existed on Krypton for a small amount of time. You know, he was born and they put him in the pod and he got the blanket and all that. Like, you know, he was born, and he's not an immigrant. He's technically a refugee. If you want to be technical, right? If you want to be technical, he's a refugee.
Not necessarily that, because a refugee is like an official status, and that's when you go to like a government and say, "Let me in," and then you're let in. Then you're known as a refugee. If you don't go through that process, you're an immigrant. That's where, and that determines like, you know, a legal immigrant. So a refugee is a very specific thing. I mean, I guess technically, yeah, but
there's just no way around it. Like,
definitionally not.
Superman is not of America, and he's certainly not of Earth. So like,
no.
He's an immigrant. I don't know what to tell you. And it's not like the movie doesn't even put like a big emphasis on it. Like, it does a little bit.
No.
Like it does, like in the sense of like it's part of the plot because Superman is an alien, you know. But it's not like they're not like making a political statement about the real world with it, you know. Even the war that's happening in the movie, in the world of the movie, which is definitely an analog for the Palestine-Israel conflict, they're not even really making a statement about that. I mean, they are, but they aren't.
Yeah, it's just a depiction of.
It's one of those things of like we're gonna draw on real life stuff to make this entertaining plot of our movie, but it's not saying anything about the current conflict because it's a superhero movie, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Superman's great. You should go watch it. It's fantastic.
I will be looking forward to it. Well,
moving on to our final topic of the day.
The final one.
One that I'm gonna figure out what the fuck the name of that game is that's coming to Switch 2 next year that I want to find out. But Connor, go ahead and take it with your second and final penny of the day.
Yeah, it's a bit of a short, simple one here. Piracy website NSWT2. I'll do that again. Piracy website NSW2U taken down by FBI. Fans of the long-running illegal download site NSW2U, I don't know why I struggled with the two part, were greeted by an FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, seizure notice after the government organization blocked access to the site last Thursday in, quote, part of a law enforcement operation, end quote. The bulk of the message reads, quote, this domain has been seized by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in accordance with a seizure warrant issued pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 2323 issued by the United States District Court for the Northern District of Georgia as part of a law enforcement operation and action by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, end quote. I've included a little picture of it in the article. The rightmost logo in the picture above belongs to the Fiscal Information and Investigation Service, a Netherlands government agency that primarily investigates economic, fiscal, and financial fraud. NSW2U was added to the EU piracy watch list in May alongside repacking site FitGirl. Nintendo is notably aggressive in the realm of copyright protection, shutting down emulators like Yuzu and automatically bricking Nintendo Switch 2 consoles that were hacked. More notorious cases involve Nintendo's constant copyright strikes against music uploaded to YouTube, and when the company required a man in his 50s by the name of Gary Bowser to pay Nintendo $14 million over his involvement in a piracy group called Team Executor. So yeah, these things, they're pretty common to happen. It's the most notable thing about it is that was a very long used one. I had known about it for a long time as well, and something else is probably going to pop up down the line. There's certainly other sites that are similar to it out there right now. It's an ongoing fight, and it's never going to end, and Nintendo certainly has no intentions of being light on this issue. The most interesting thing about this is why the Netherlands was involved. I was assuming it was because something about the servers probably existed in the Netherlands, even though the investigation is also in Georgia. It's kind of weird, but when it comes to sites that can cross borders pretty easily, who knows who can get involved in these kinds of cases.
This story did not hit my personal radar this week, and I struggle to care.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, because it's just a matter of this is what's always going to happen in the realm of any media, whether it's video games, movies, music. Illegal streaming sites, illegal download sites will always exist. They'll always get taken down, and more will pop up.
And I think it's well within the right of creators and law enforcement to shut down these sites because you're stealing. So I would rather somebody watch our clips on our TikTok feed than a reposted clip on another channel. Not that anybody's done that because we're not big enough to do that.
Yeah, why would they?
But at some point maybe that will happen, and I would rather you watch content that comes straight from us than somebody else. Now, at the same time, we also work in a double-edged standard where we're internet based, so someone spreading clips of us online actually helps us in the long run because it raises awareness and all that and so forth. But it is what it is. The penny drop, my penny drop episode on remakes. If somebody posted and everybody went to clips of somebody else posting my video in a way that it would no longer benefit me, that would hurt. That would piss me off because I worked really hard on that, and I would want that to be recognized and for me to beneficially gain off of that awareness. So, that would happen. Same thing with movies, music, video games, whatever you want, any type of medium. You should, you should support the creator of the thing that you like. I don't, that's not a very complicated statement or thing to get behind. Now, I know in the gaming space, there's the whole thing with DRM and, games getting shut down and taken off of stores and no longer being able to play because we live in a digital era and all this, that, and the third. I get it. If, there's the whole thing of if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. I understand the sentiment behind that. And from the consumer perspective, I get it even more. But I always push back of like, what got taken away that you really, really care about? Like the thing that you're like, oh man, this is a huge part of thing. And now it's like unplayable for me because they took it away, PT. Fucking,
PT, yeah. Hey.
Marvel's Avengers, yippee.
Multiverses,
Anthem. Like it's never something that like set the world on fire. Elden Ring will always be purchasable. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and playable. So it's just like, what are we doing? I was right. It is Tamagotchi Life. It's Tamagotchi Life Living the Dream, which is coming out next year. So yeah, that's something I'm excited for Switch 2.
I bet you are.
Connor, when are you gonna man the fuck up and play some Death Stranding?
When we play it on the Game Club now. At this point,
fucking pussy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, man. You're just scared. You're just scared of the. You're scared of the grind.
Yeah.
You're scared to keep on keeping on.
Oh, I never keep on. You're
scared.
I never do that.
It's a scary ink monster. It's so scary.
I think you're scared of me to play the game because you'll know I'll be more accurately critical of it than you are.
Your critique will be fine. The problem is going to be you're going to be like, it's just delivering packages, and I'm gonna be like, all right, but like, so in the same way that you're like, it's just a puzzle game, it's just a platformer.
No,
you're an idiot.
See, that's different. That's different. Death Stranding has far more things going on. I would never say just carrying packages. No, just solve puzzles over and over again. Hammer and nail, getting onto the next
packages over and over again. I can see it now. You're just gonna discredit. You're gonna discredit art because it's not personally interesting to you.
Between me, you, and Phil, who likes walking as a general thing the most?
Like as a real life activity, it's you.
As a real life activity. So
yeah.
Gaming, what's the problem with that? Why would I all of a sudden have a problem with walking?
I don't know. Why wouldn't you have a problem? But you're too fucking pussy whipped to fucking try and play it.
Bother. I don't even have a woman in my life. You just stick with pussy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do
that. You're right.
Yeah, definitionally, this matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for your episode of the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 259. Thank you so much for watching and listening and playing along with us. Make sure you're playing Demon Souls in the background. Jesus Christ. Make sure you're playing Demon Souls in the background in preparation of our next episode of the Two Penny Game Club. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, drop comments down below. We did not integrate a Two Penny segment of the audience this week. Nobody really said anything interesting. There was one comment that I was like kind of interesting, but I was like, I don't know.
I want to spend more time on the show than I fucking have to. Get it over with.
Wow! Whoa! Connor, I could do this all. Connor, I could do this all day. I could do this all fucking day. No, you don't.
With you? No, I couldn't.
No, you don't. But
you sitting there talking?
What?
No, with you sitting there talking, I couldn't do that all day. I could barely do it for 3 hours. Say something.
We could do it. We could do
it. I'm already fucking sick of it.
We could do it much longer than we do it currently. We could.
We could, yeah. It wouldn't be that difficult. It wouldn't be difficult.
Someday I'd like to do like movie shit, like official movie shit, but we're just not. We don't have the bandwidth for that. I can't even get you fuckers to edit a video consistently.
Time. Because of time. All these things are centered around time, Tab.
Connor, you have so much time.
Time. Do I though?
Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Follow us on social medias. Follow us on DSPs, digital streaming platforms, and all the stuff. And until next time, have a great time. Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Dark Side Phil.